All right, guys. Welcome back to the Game Cafe Mid-Season Showdown. Top card pairings just got posted. However, we are going to put off showing that top 8 match for about 45 minutes or so because we're about to bring you a grudge match between Leonard Kraft III and Ethan Simpson. Ethan was talking a little bit of smack leading up to this tournament, so Leonard decided he had enough of that. He's like, all right, we're going to battle. A little bit of money involved here, so should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so this game has a whopping $5 riding on it. But more importantly is the pride between these two players. They team build and practice together all the time. So, there's a lot at stake here, a lot of bragging rights for the coming months in this game too.
We've seen both of these players on stream, but we're going to go over their teams again real quick. Leonard is running that Tapu Lele, Tapu Fini, Garchomp, Arcanine, Porygon 2, and Muck. Ethan, Tapu Koko, Raichu, Gyarados, Garchomp, Butterfree, and Muck. So an interesting thing we saw from Leonard's team is he has the swagger heel pulls Tapu Fini, and he has physical Porygon 2. So should be interesting to see how that Porygon 2 can play around.
Yeah, so I really love self-swagger for Tapu Fini. It's possibly one of my favorite plays to make this season. I'm just really glad that Leonard had the guts to bring that to the tournament today. And also, I'm digging Ethan's Butterfree. Not a lot of options for redirection support in the format right now. So bringing that Butterfree, it has both Tailwind and Rage Powder, two really sought-after moves. So it can provide some decent support. Even though, it kind of looks like a meme to most people. Like, oh, haha, Butterfree.
Yeah, Butterfree definitely. If it's going to get anything done this game, it's going to be with that Rage Powder and Tailwind because he has his own electric terrain, and Leonard has Misty terrain to just prevent that from firing off Sleep Powder. So it'll be interesting to see if that Butterfree even makes an appearance at all this game.
Yeah, so going into this, Ethan's electric mode is going to be really solid just versus Tapu Fini and for getting decent damage off, with neutral hits on the Arcanine and the Muck. Gotta watch out for Garchomp though. What does Ethan really even have for taking out Leonard's Garchomp besides his own Garchomp in the mirror?
Well, we could see, I guess, we could see that Gyarados come into play if it is carrying, say, an Ice Fang. I mean, Gyarados looks pretty good here because we know Leonard's Porygon 2 is not running Thunderbolt, so it can just freely set up and it. Gyarados can get up a couple Dragon Dances. It looks pretty good in this game, to be honest with you. So that could potentially be a very important Pokemon for Ethan for getting his $5.
All right, so the players have selected their teams, and we're going to jump in here. We see Ethan issuing a challenge, and Leonard deciding to lead with Porygon 2 and Tapu Lele versus
Butterfree and Gyarados from Ethan. So looking like this Dragon Dance, Gyarados might look to go straight for Dragon Dances here. And Butterfree just being able to Rage Powder any attacks away. Porygon 2 gets an attack boost, so this frustration is back at neutral, so frustration will be hitting decently. However, I didn't see who went first.
Tapu Lele's Psychic Terrain activated before Intimidate. So Tapu Lele's the faster Pokemon on the field.
Right. So, given that, however, we know Butterfree naturally outspeeds Tapu Lele, so could just decide to put it to sleep right now with the Sleep Powder. However, he has to be very wary. Oh, Tapu Lele!
And Tapu Lele goes straight for a Thunderbolt into Gyarados, picks up a one-hit KO. So we'll see what the Butterfree does.
I'm sorry, guys. I was completely wrong. Tapu Lele outspeeding Butterfree, actually, so my apologies. I I overestimated our dear friend Butterfree. But that was a really big turn there for Leonard. Just being able to get rid of that massive threat in Gyarados, breaking Butterfree's focus sash. I mean, Tapu Lele being put to sleep is a little bit unfortunate, but I don't think he minds that too much. Tapu Lele has done his job by getting rid of that Gyarados.
Yeah, so with Tapu Koko out on the field now, Butterfree cannot put the Porygon 2 to sleep, so it can't prevent a potential Trick Room there. But Tapu Lele is asleep and has not taken a sleep turn yet, so it's guaranteed to be asleep for right now at least, giving Ethan a chance for some free damage. And he goes straight for a Thunderbolt onto the Tapu Lele.
Yeah, revealing that we saw that Life Orb earlier, and see if Butterfree goes for a Bug Buzz on the Tapu
And Butterfree does go for a Bug Buzz.
And it does pick up the KO on Tapu Lele, but is Porygon 2 going to set up this Muck with a Trick Room? It does not. I'm going to go right for an Ice Beam on the Butterfree, just picking up that knockout and giving Leonard a 3-2 lead. So, have to see what Ethan has in the back. If he has that Garchomp. But no, we actually see the Raichu. So, and we see a Garchomp come out from Leonard. So, that ground type against this double electric mode potentially be very good for Leonard if he's able to get off this Earthquake. Or we saw the Tectonic Rage, I believe, earlier. So, just even being able to pick up a KO on either of these Pokemon with that would be extremely important. But we actually see Fake Out from Raichu on a Garchomp. So he's going to try and get up. We see that rough skin, so if Raichu is carrying the Focus Sash, that Sash is now broken. We see a Taunt from
And Taunt into Porygon. That is a really good play there.
Coming out from Porygon.
Because, yeah, with Ethan having these two very fast Pokemon on the field, Trick Room would be really disadvantageous. It would be bad for him. So he gets just a free turn there and prevents Trick Room. But he's still got to take care of this Garchomp before it can fire off any Earthquakes at him.
Garchomp going to protect, probably afraid of a Dazzling Gleam and Psychic combination coming out from these two Pokemon. There is the Psychic into the Garchomp Protect. Is it fought up with the Dazzling Gleam? Yes, it is. So Porygon 2, not really going to be taking all that much damage here. And we're going to see who targets down with a Return or an Ice Beam. And there is that Ice Beam into Tapu Koko. And do decent amount of damage, bringing it down into the yellow. And
so about 40% there. Decent damage.
Yeah, Porygon 2 showing that it doesn't even need Trick Room to help seal this game up, because it's just looking like it can take this game all on its own. So we see Muck come in. Muck very good against both of these Pokemon, being able to exploit their secondary typings with its dual stabs. And we see Thunderbolt come out on a Porygon, though, not the Muck switching, so very afraid of this Porygon. Will this Thunderbolt pick up the KO? No, it does not.
Not quite enough damage there. But it does look like Tapu Koko is going to survive this Ice Beam. And I spoke too soon.
Commentator curse. Tapu Koko going down. See that Ice Beam from Porygon 2. Porygon's Taunt wears off as well, so it cancels out the Trick Room if it wants. But very demanding. And Leonard's going to be able to take this game. And that was a very demanding win by him.
Yeah, so that was well played by Leonard. The critical hit, a little bit unfortunate, but Ethan was already playing from behind, so it didn't swing the game, it just sealed the game.
Yeah. Muck was going to be able to pull that game back regardless. Especially with that berry, there's just no way that Ethan could one hit KO it or get rid of it on that turn. So not much he could have done there. I really don't know what all he can do to adjust. I mean, if he's going to bring this game back, he's going to have to protect that Gyarados a lot better.
I think if he goes for... Oh, sorry, go ahead. My bad.
Gyarados is going to be the key, because I feel that if he would have been able to get off a Dragon Dance or two, that Gyarados definitely would have been a good tool to start sweeping through Leonard's team. But that Tapu Lele showing that Tech Thunderbolt, very important. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ethan keeps that game the same. But if Butterfree might want to go on that support role with the Rage Powder rather.
Yeah, it goes for the Rage Powder to help Gyarados start setting up some Dragon Dances rather than just going offensive.
Or we could see Gyarados. We saw Porygon 2 put a lot of work in that game. So instead, maybe we could see Gyarados protect. Hypothetically, if they lead the same things again, we could see Butterfree decide to put Porygon 2 to sleep and get that threat immobilized rather than the Tapu Lele. So there's definitely a couple things Ethan can do here, but it's just all going to depend on if the rules. It depends on if Leonard wants to change anything up with how he's going to play this game. So, but should be an interesting match here. But
I do think, using that Butterfree, the sleep powder, Ethan does have to keep in mind that Tapu Fini could be entering the field, so he's got to keep that in mind as well, before just firing off sleep powders at Pokemon.
Yeah, another adjustment Ethan could make here, though, is that Garchomp. Tectonic Rage is going to do a lot to... Leonard does not have a switch-in to that Tectonic Rage, so if Garchomp's able to get that attack off onto something for free, could be a huge momentum switch for Ethan. We see Porygon 2 Garchomp this game, so what are we going to get from Ethan? We get Muck and Gyarados, so trying to compensate for that Tapu Lele. But a very good switch up here by Leonard, team that Garchomp on the field, immediately threatening this Muck with Ground Name Z Tectonic Rage. And Porygon 2 gets another attack boost, so is back to neutral, and we'll be able to. And of course, we know it has frustration, so that frustration start doing decent amount of damage to both of these Pokemon now that it's back in neutral. But once again, Gyarados is in another spot where it can potentially just start setting up Dragon Dances. We see Garchomp go for the Poison Jab.
Garchomp fishing for a switch here, going for a Poison Jab. Or maybe it just doesn't have any better options to hit Gyarados.
Or more than likely just anticipating a Protect there from Muck. So
yeah, so that Poison, of course, being really unfortunate.
With Gyarados on a timer.
But it does, at the very least, guarantee that Gyarados cannot be frozen by Ice Beam, which I know is something that Ethan's been complaining about all day today. So maybe there's a slight silver lining to that RNG that turn.
And that knockoff from Muck onto that Porygon 2 can be very big here, because it'd be interesting to see if that Hydro Vortex from Gyarados can pick up the KO on that slot if it is indeed running that. So I like that play from Ethan a lot, actually. It might seem kind of risky that on the surface, because Garchomp can just take out the Muck in one hit. However, if Garchomp wanted to do that, Gyarados would have gotten off it would have taken less damage, and it would not have been poisoned this turn. So it would have almost basically been a free Dragon Dance, per se. And now, because he got that Dragon Dance off, he can also threaten this Garchomp with the KO with Ice Fang. I actually see Tapu Fini come in for Leonard. Interesting switch in here. I'll have to see what Gyarados goes for. If it is that water, Hydro Vortex would be very bad here for Ethan, because Tapu Fini will eat that up. Muck protecting, afraid of a ground move from Garchomp. We do see the Z Crystal, so Hydro Vortex coming out from Ethan's Gyarados. Who is this going to target? Won't be doing a lot of damage to either of these Pokemon because of Tapu Fini's water typing, and Garchomp, of course, went for that Protect. So, and it
does go into Garchomp. I do like that read, because a +1 Hydro Vortex, deals neutral damage to Garchomp, and
we see how much to protect in Garchomp, so it definitely would have picked up the knockout there.
Yeah, so I like that play. And I definitely think that that Tapu Fini switch in with a Muck on the field it's just really gutsy if you ask me. But
we see Gyarados go for the Waterfall into Garchomp, not an Ice Fang. Garchomp's going to be able to take this.
And it's just not quite enough to pick up the KO, but he does get the flinch.
A play I thought that Leonard might have made there. He goes for the move. I was picking up the KO on Gyarados. A play there I thought he could have made was if he was expecting, with him going on the offense, big critical hit there from Muck, but interesting play that Leonard could have made there. If he would have known that Gyarados wasn't going to go for an Ice Fang, and knowing his Garchomp could have lived, he could have gone for, say, like a Heal Pulse in the Garchomp. However, Gyarados could have knocked it out the next turn anyway, so I like the Moonblast on that side rather than trying to set up his Garchomp. And an unfortunate flinch there because Tectonic Rage easily would have KO'd this Muck. But instead, because of the flinch, Tapu Fini took a lot of damage that turn because of the critical hit poison jab.
Yeah, so now with Tapu Koko coming out on the field here, exerting a lot of pressure on both of these Pokemon, you know, with the potential for a Dazzling Gleam, or just a T-Bolt into Tapu Fini. So we'll have to see what Leonard anticipates here.
A play here, though, is from Leonard. If Tapu Fini is able to hold on, we could see a Swagger on the Tapu Koko slot if it is able to hold on. So interesting to see what goes on here. Swagger from Tapu Fini onto that Tapu Koko. So Tapu Koko attack is going to raise sharply. And what are we going to get from Muck? Muck going for the Curse, actually. So setting up for later turns, boosting that attack stat by attack and defense by 1 in exchange for a speed drop. So I like that play from Ethan a lot, knowing that Tapu Koko was going to KO the Garchomp for sure with Dazzling Gleam. And Tapu Fini, no offensive pressure whatsoever. So Muck taking advantage of that passive turn by Leonard and just setting itself up for later turns.
Yeah, so I like that Curse play with Garchomp being at -1 and also threatened by Tapu Koko as long as it hits through Confusion. It does put him in a decent position with his Muck. Tapu Koko unfortunately hitting itself in Confusion.
Tapu Koko hits itself in Confusion and Garchomp gets this Tectonic Rage.
But we will have to see. Garchomp's at -1 attack, and with Muck at +1, maybe there's enough defense there to survive it. I don't know for sure.
Is this going to be... Yeah, it is that Tapu Koko. So getting that offensive threat off on the field, Tapu Koko will go down here to Tectonic Rage. Be interesting, though, if we see a Heal Pulse from Tapu Fini here, getting that Garchomp back up to above half health. And yeah, we do see the Heal Pulse from Tapu Fini. Going to heal up that Garchomp so Muck cannot KO it with a knockoff this turn. But we actually see another Curse from Muck. So, hey, not afraid of that Garchomp whatsoever, and knowing Tapu Fini was just going to heal up that Garchomp, was boosting itself up once again.
Yeah, so this does help Ethan set up for the late game here. His Muck's going to be really difficult to deal damage to physically.
Yeah, definitely.
And with those speed drops, it's going to mean that Leonard's going to be punished if he attempts to set Trick Room for the end game. Mm-hmm. Even so, Ethan's got to come back from a 4-2 lead right now, or deficit. Yeah, Ethan's at a deficit that he's got to come back from for Muck to really be able to put in work here.
Yeah, I definitely think we could. Garchomp is threatening both these Pokemon with a Tectonic Rage, but I think a play we could see here is I was gonna say we could see a Garchomp protect there. We actually see a protect from Tapu Fini on Leonard's side, and gonna get this Earthquake off. Gonna do decent damage to both Pokemon, doing absolutely nothing to Muck thanks to those Curse boosts. We'll see a knockoff into that slot.
Yeah, so that's a +2 knockoff. Obviously, you can't knock off the Z Crystal, but it still does some good damage.
Yeah. So yeah, now, thanks to that knockoff damage, not going to be surprised whatsoever if Ethan just decides to protect his Muck and just go for an Earthquake, allowing him to pick up a double KO, knowing that he outspeeds that Tapu Fini.
Yeah, so this also comes down to, Garchomps may not be max speed, and what have you. So, it could depend on how each of these trainers have trained their own Pokemon. But it does look like Ethan gets the Earthquake first, so that's probably going to pick up a double KO.
Is Tapu Fini going to be a hang-on? No, it does not. Garchomp picking up a double KO there for Ethan and bringing this game back to a 2-2. I definitely like his position a lot more here because Muck, with that +2 knockoff, is about to do a lot of damage to Porygon.
Yeah, especially because Porygon has already lost its Eviolite, so it's not going to be able to withstand the hits nearly as well as it could previously. So Muck being at +2 is going to be really big here. Porygon can't set Trick Room to give his own Muck an advantage. So I think all Ethan really needs to do here is protect his Garchomp and attack the Porygon with Muck.
Yeah, we see that Garchomp does go for the protect. Porygon 2 will Ice Beam that Garchomp slot. Garchomp there on Ethan's side was probably hoping for a Muck protect there, but of course Muck does not go for that. It goes for its own curse, getting the +1 attack and defense. We see a Poison Jab come out from Ethan's Muck on a Porygon 2. Does so much damage. Not enough.
But it's not quite enough for the KO, which is really important here.
Yeah, so a play we could see here, we could just see another Protect Earthquake, or we could see him, Ethan, we do see the Muck Protect, so just determining that this Porygon 2 needs to get off the field right away, so it cannot start using Recover or just KO this Garchomp with Ice Beam.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we do know that Ethan's got Tectonic Rage as an option, and he hasn't used it. I think he doesn't want to risk burning his Tectonic Rage into a Protect, when he could do more damage.
Yeah, but that knockoff from Muck, we do not see an item drop, so it is that Ground Z Crystal. But that Rough Skin damage is actually going to let Muck eat its Figgy Berry and get back up to almost full health. So, be interesting to see if that Figgy Berry proc helps Leonard maybe allows Muck to take this Tectonic Rage.
Yeah, so I almost wonder if you go ahead and just regular Earthquake here to proc your own Figgy Berry on your own Muck. That way it can't be knocked off later.
Oh, we see Dragon Claw from Garchomp, actually. Critical hit there with that Dragon Claw. Knock off onto Ethan's Muck, gonna knock off the Guava Berry. Muck going for a Poison Jab. This is gonna KO. No,
not quite enough, but it's definitely low enough that I think now is when Ethan can safely go for that Tectonic Rage.
Yeah, or even just a Dragon Claw. But we will see the forfeit from Leonard, and a very good comeback there by Ethan. Very good adjustments to force the game 3. So, if you're Leonard there, definitely have to be a little bit concerned about how he was just able to let that Muck just kind of have a free, just has to be kind of concerned about how Ethan punished his passive plays on a couple turns, and with that passive play, Ethan was just able to set up curses, and that curse Muck just did so much work and was able to bring us into a game 3. So it'll be interesting to see if Leonard prioritizes getting Muck off the field now, knowing how big of a threat it is with that.
Yeah, so Muck did a lot of work, and obviously those curses really helped him set up some offensive presence, made Muck a huge threat. Definitely helped him clean up that end game.
Mm-hmm. And we are back in team preview for game 3. These teams, Leonard on your left as Tapu Fini, Porygon 2, Garchomp, Muck, Arcanine, and Tapu Lele. Ethan running that Garchomp, Muck, Tapu Koko, Butterfree, Gyarados, and Alolan Raichu. So, we talked about that Muck being a huge threat on Ethan's side. What do you think Leonard can do to make sure that it doesn't become the threat that it did last game?
Well, Leonard's got to use his Garchomp a little bit more aggressively into that Muck slot. I think Ethan knew, because both these players know each other pretty well. Ethan knew that Leonard likes to make safe plays, and so I think he just punished Leonard's hesitancy to go on the offensive, because there were several turns that he just left his Muck vulnerable to Leonard's Garchomp, and Leonard didn't attack because he was, he didn't want to Earthquake, or he didn't want to burn his Z Crystal into a Protect.
Yeah. We saw that on turn 1. It was Gyarados Muck against Porygon 2 Arcanine. Garchomp could have removed that threat turn 1 if it really wanted to, but chose not to, and not KOing that Muck, it just backfired severely. But we're not actually going to see Garchomp as a lead from Leonard, so preserving it for the late game, it looks like. But instead, we're going to get Tapu Lele Arcanine from Leonard against that Gyarados Muck from Ethan. And
Yeah, so I really like this lead for Leonard. You know, because he puts a lot of pressure on Ethan right from the start. Obviously, Tapu Lele threatens that one-hit KO on Gyarados, and Arcanine intimidating both of these physical attackers, as well as threatening the ability to Will-O-Wisp either one of them and neuter them for the entire rest of the match.
So yeah, wouldn't
So
definitely be surprised if that Will-O-Wisp gets fired into that muck slot, just bringing that down. We actually see Moonblast from Tapu Lele.
So Tapu Lele goes for the Moonblast, potentially trying to read a switch out from Gyarados, but Gyarados goes for a taunt onto Arcanine, doesn't want to let it get any Will-O-Wisp off. So I think both players making reads, Leonard trying to punish Ethan making a defensive play, and Ethan, not falling for it and just doing what he wants to do.
Yeah, Leonard, they're definitely expecting a Garchomp switch in. So trying to catch that with the Moonblast, but Gyarados just says, no, I'm going to try and preserve my muck here. Just taunting the Arcanine. That actually opens up an interesting position, because if Leonard goes for another Moonblast and Gyarados is able to take it, Gyarados can potentially knock this Arcanine out with the Hydro Vortex. So be interesting to see what that Gyarados is going to do here. Muck, though, we see Tapu Lele switch out. We saw Ethan punish the safe plays turn in last game. Is he going to do it again here?
So Leonard goes for the double switch here, trying to get, better situated, and it does preserve Intimidate, which I do think is going to be important. Gyarados just goes for a Protect.
Safe play there by Ethan, just protecting that Gyarados from Tapu Lele. Muck going for that Poison Jab into Garchomp, trying to KO that slot. We see Rough Skin from Garchomp, going to take a little bit of health off. So let's see. Garchomp here, we saw it was hesitant to go after that Muck in the last game, but wouldn't be surprised if Leonard just tries to target it down now. However, if he expects Ethan to anticipate that, we could just see a double attack into this Gyarados, or potentially another switch out from that Garchomp, trying to get even better field position.
Yeah, so Gyarados did just protect, so it obviously can't protect this turn. But Leonard is going for that. I don't even know the Z ground attack, what it's called.
Leonard, Tectonic Rage into the Muck, but Ethan switching up his playstyle, going for the more defensive play here, protecting his Muck, which is going to take. It's still going to take a good chunk of damage, but it's going to be able to sit around on the field now, because without that Protect, Tectonic Rage easily would have KO'd that Muck. And with that Figgy Berry, Muck has more health this turn than what it started with. Gyarados goes with the Dragon Dance, though. So setting up for the Arcanine and Tapu Lele in the back, or potentially just getting a KO here with Hydro Vortex. See a Poison Jab from Muck into Gyarados. Going to bring it down to the red. Does not get a poison, though, but will be in range of whatever attack Leonard throws at that slot next.
Yeah, so again, good plays from both players. Ethan deciding not to be so risky with his Muck this game, deciding that maybe he should protect it a little bit more because it was so important to him last game. So that Protect, obviously, given his Muck the ability to survive that, not Continental Crush, Tectonic Rage, really big, especially since it procced the Figgy Berry. And Ethan going for this Hydro Vortex. If it's going into that Garchomp slot, it's going to do significant damage to it. Are Z moves considered contact moves still? Will it go down to Rough Skin over this?
No, Rough Skin does not get procced by the Z moves. So Gyarados will be able to hang around after. Oh, but Garchomp survives with 12 hit points. However, it goes for the Earthquake. So Gyarados, even though it was not able to pick up the knockout, will be hanging around for one more turn here. We see Earthquake do so much damage to that Muck, and since it lost its Figgy Berry,
it won't be recovering that damage anytime soon.
So Ethan definitely anticipating that Hydro Vortex picking up the KO, but because it was a neutral, just not enough firepower from that Z move to knock out this Garchomp. So that +1 curse from Muck, not really going to be doing all that much here. That play makes a lot of sense from Ethan, anticipating that knockout and getting a free curse once again. However, Leonard knowing that Garchomp is going to be able to hang around, very good play by him, just to basically render that Muck useless.
Yeah, so that survival is really important because now Muck is not going to be able to stick around nearly as long. Its HP is low.
We see Waterfall from Gyarados on the Garchomp, going to pick up the knockout. Ruskin, is it going to be able to hang on? And it does hang on with a... No, it does not hang on. Gyarados going down as well, so... We see Muck from Leonard's side going for a Poison Jab. Not going to be able to pick up the KO thanks to that curse. And we see knockoff from Ethan's Muck onto Leonard's, knocking off that Iapapa Berry. And Psychic Terrain is going to go down.
So that's a... I think that turn ends up being just a little bit better for Ethan than it is for Leonard, just because he gets rid of the berry from Leonard's Muck there. His Muck was already on low HP, so it's not like it's a huge deal that he took some damage there, because it's probably going down to like a Moonblast or a Dazzling Gleam from Tapu Lele anyways.
Yeah. Actually, wouldn't be surprised here if Ethan decides to go for that Earthquake, but he just allows himself to KO his own Muck so he can get a free switch in. Or what we could see is just essentially a Protect from Garchomp, wanting to get more poison damage off onto Tapu Lele. But we see Muck on Ethan's side protecting, so not wanting to go down to an Earthquake yet. And Tapu Lele goes for Dazzling Gleam, revealing it his Choice Scarf. Getting get good damage off on this Garchomp.
Yeah, but unfortunately not quite enough to get the KO on Garchomp there. So this Earthquake is going to do big damage to the opposing Muck and Tapu Lele, and Muck is going to be unable to heal back that damage because it had its berry knocked off.
So we get a curse from Muck, so trying to set up this turn. So Choice Scarf Tapu Lele, we have not seen that from any of Leonard's prior set or that game one. So actually,
that was well done on Leonard's part. Keeping that information hidden really helped him out, especially right now. So this Arcanine comes back in. It's going to fire off Intimidates again. So both of Ethan's Pokemon are at -1 now.
Muck is actually at neutral because it set up a curse earlier. However,
Muck was intimidated on turn 1 though as well. So when it cursed, it got back up to neutral.
However, Muck's not going to be taking any hits anyway from its
right.
So, but however, this Garchomp it's still in control of this match for Ethan, being able to threaten both Pokemon with Earthquake. May or may not pick up a 2-hit KO on Arcanine, depending on how the Arcanine is trained. But yeah, we just see Ethan, knowing his Muck is useless, just going to decide to KO it this turn. And
just going for the Earthquake. I think maybe he could have attempted a double protect there if he was going to do that anyways, but really no need to. Maybe he'd rather get the switch into his Pokemon in the back. Yeah,
if he has one of his 2 electric types in the back, then that will just be able to wrap up this game. And yeah, it is that Tapu Koko. So Ethan making some really good adjustments there in games 2 and 3. He's able to pull back that set and take the ever important $5.
Yeah, and like we said at the beginning, the bragging rights that go with it for the following couple weeks are definitely more important than any tournament win to these 2 players. So
Ethan actually going to his Garchomp, protect his Tapu Koko, just let his Garchomp pick up the final KO. Garchomp is definitely the MVP of this game for him, so fitting that he lets it KO the Arcanine, and going to be a clean 2-0 win for Ethan Simpson against Leonard Kraft.
So well played by Ethan there. I really like how he came back. He figured out, the electric mode that I have here is too threatened by Leonard's Garchomp. I'm going to have to figure out how to play around that a little bit better. And definitely, not getting that surprise KO from Tapu Lele definitely helped him out to not lose those last 2 games.
Surprised that if Leonard hid the choice scarf really well, but I'm surprised that he didn't take advantage of that information and go for a moon blast on the Garchomp. That could have potentially picked up the knockdown. He could have just KO'd the Muck the next turn. So, interesting endgame there, but Ethan was able to squeak that victory out. And we are going to hear for the next several months about how Ethan beat Leonard yet could not top cut this event.
You know what? That's okay, because at the end of the day, the important thing is that the players are playing good Pokemon, and obviously, it's good that they're figuring out teams that aren't EV centered for going into the bigger tournaments later this year.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we will have the top 8 match going for you guys. So stay tuned for that, and so please stay tuned.